What's up, guys? Welcome back to another review, and this time I'm going to be taking a look at the classic, the movie that unofficially kickstarted Disney's renaissance of the late 80s and the early 90s. I'm talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, directed by the amazing, legendary Robert Zemeckis, with cinematography by Dean Cundey, starring the great Bob Hoskins as Eddie Valiant and Charles Fleischer as the voice of Roger Rabbit, and of course Christopher Lloyd in a performance that I don't know how to describe because he's so awesome as Judge Doom. He has that right amount of intimidation and that perfect blend of comedy, and he plays it completely straight-faced. And Judge Doom, to me, is one of the best Disney villains ever put to screen. I think he gets overshadowed a lot, especially once the Disney Renaissance kicked in with The Little Mermaid. I think Judge Doom got lost in the shuffle because I think Judge Doom is one of the best, absolute best Disney villains, and probably one of the best movie villains in general. Christopher Lloyd was fantastic as Judge Doom. Wow, I didn't even... Well, that's a new way to start off a review, just giving my praise to Judge Doom after rewatching this movie again, and just really paying attention to Lloyd's performance as Judge Doom. He's fantastic. He's great. I love the on-screen chemistry he has with Eddie Valiant. I buy the rivalry. I like how those two characters are connected. When it's revealed later on in the movie that Judge Doom was the man who in fact killed Eddie's brother by dropping a piano on his head. So yeah, the rivalry between Eddie Valiant and Judge Doom is one of the best parts of this movie. The chemistry between Eddie Valiant and Roger is hilarious. They have a great Abbott and Costello vibe going on to them. Bob Hoskins playing this hard-boiled noir detective alcoholic, and Roger Rabbit is this bright and chirpy and funny character, and their meshing of personalities is fantastic. Hoskins and Fleischer work well off one another. But Bob Hoskins, to me, he is the unsung hero of this movie. Bob Hoskins made this movie work. This movie was ambitious enough as it is, trying to combine animation with live action. Robert Zemeckis had just done Back to the Future, so he was on a hot streak. Roger Rabbit was probably his most ambitious movie, aside from Back to the Future. This is probably Zemeckis' first, second biggest test as a director in how to pull this off. And when you watch this movie, you are still mesmerized to this day how in 1988 they were able to pull this off. They were able to, with the technology they had at their disposal. It's amazing how they pulled this off. Bob Hoskins had to do pantomime training for his performance as Eddie Valiant, because he's practically acting against nothing. There's nothing in the scene there. Everything's all colored in. And he is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Bob Hoskins made you believe he was acting on screen with all these, cartoon characters. And that just is a tribute to the man's talent, and it's a real shame that we lost Bob Hoskins when we did, because he truly is one of the all-time great actors. Brilliant actor. Not just in Roger Rabbit, but he has performances in Hook where he plays Shmi when he was hilarious as Shmi. If I have anything good to say about the Super Mario Brothers movie, it's Bob Hoskins. Bob Hoskins is one of the best actors for movies like this, and his performance as Valiant again is fantastic. He's, like I said, he's hard-boiled noir, but he also has a dry sense of humor as well. And I always get a chuckle out of his scene with Jessica Rabbit when his girlfriend catches him with his pants down while he's flirting with Jessica Rabbit inside in his apartment. It's hilarious stuff. It's good shit. This movie is riddled with good stuff. How they were able. This is the only movie where you'll ever see Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse not only share screen time, but dialogue exchange. As the same with Donald Duck and Daffy Duck as well. And of course there's other cameos too. You got a Betty Boop cameo, you got a Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd, Porky Pig, this movie is just chock full of, it's a love letter to the old Tex Avery style of animation. And it clearly shows that this is a love letter to Tex Avery. The designs are a spitting image of Avery's work. And you can tell that everyone behind the scenes put in 100% to make this bad boy what it is today. And Roger Rabbit is just one of those old-time films. Now let's get into some of the plot. The basic premise of this movie is simple. Roger Rabbit is framed for the murder of R.K. Maroon, who is the creator of Toontown. Of course, the reason why Roger's being framed for this murder is because Roger Rabbit was shown incriminating photos of R.K. Maroon and his wife Jessica playing patty cake. That's funny shit. And of course, R.K. Maroon ends up getting killed. Of course, as the movie progresses, we find out there's actually more to this plot, and there's more to this being a simple death. And it all goes back to Judge Doom, and the reason why Judge Doom killed Marvin Acme is because he wants to destroy Toontown and pretty much build a freeway. He wants to build the first freeway in American history. And in order to do that, he needs to kill Maroon so that he has all the leverage he can to destroy and dismantle Toontown. That is Judge Doom's Judge Doom's plan. And it's when you watch the movie, it explains itself more easier because I'm just rushing through this thing. But yeah, that's the general gist of it. That's the general gist of the plot. But this movie is not really about plot. This movie is an experience. It's an experience seeing, the live action and the animation mesh together. And having this movie take place during the 1930s was a phenomenal idea. The production design of this movie is fantastic. The sets look brilliant. The costume designs are amazing. This movie really does capture that 30s noir style, but also sprinkles in that whimsicalness to it. It's not a hard-boiled movie. It's a hard-boiled movie with a whimsical tone to it. And it's a perfect balance. Really perfect balance. That's with that. This movie has so many other things I love about it too. There's this character called Baby Herman, who is pretty much a 50-year-old man in a 3-year-old body, and he has and his best line is, "I got a 50-year-old lust with a 3-year-old dinky." That shit's hilarious. Baby Herman is funny as shit. You got Manny the Cab, who is also pretty funny too. You got the Weasels, who are like Judge Doom's henchmen, and they're constantly chasing down Eddie and Roger to bring them both to Doom so he can dispose of them, to put his freeway plan into motion. You have Eddie's little side plot with R.K. Maroon, who was the guy that instigated the whole Snoop job that goes into the greater whole of the movie. So, and they got that little plot going on. And you have Eddie's plot with Dolores and how he's pretty much been distant from Dolores ever since the murder of his brother. And you see how their relationship's on the rocks, and we also see how they progress to becoming a couple again. And it kind of also mirrors Roger and Jessica Rabbit's relationship in a little bit. You kind of get that juxtaposition. Jessica Rabbit is doing whatever she can to help her man Roger, and Dolores is helping her man Eddie try to solve this case. But at the same time, Dolores and Eddie, they're on the rocks ever since Eddie's brother passed away, was murdered by Doom. So yeah, this movie actually has a lot of good things in it. Aside from everything else, it actually has good character stuff, good stories in it. It's a really good story. It's tightly directing. Dean Cundy's cinematography is beautiful. And again, Dean Cundy is one of my favorite cinematographers, going back to his work on Halloween, all those John Carpenter horror movies, and of course Dean Cundy's work with Spielberg. He brings that level of talent to this movie, and it works. Zemeckis and Cundy are a fantastic combination of director and cinematographer. They complement each other perfectly. And with that, you get Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I say one of the best Disney movies. This is a Disney movie. Touchstone Pictures is a subsidiary of the Disney Corporation. This is a Disney movie. And Roger Rabbit kickstarted Disney's rebirth. And because of this movie, Disney is going strong today, in my opinion, and I will stand by that. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. As you can tell, I have nothing but nice things to say about this movie. I love it so much, which is why I have zero problem giving this thing a perfect 10. This movie, if you have not seen Roger Rabbit in a very long time, you owe it to yourself to watch it again, because it just brings back all those good feelings when you used to watch it multiple times as a child, and it just gets better with age. This movie is an ageless wonder. Everything about this movie works for me. I love it. The effects are fantastic. Directing is great. The acting is on point. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? The perfect 10. If you have not seen it at all, what is wrong with you? Watch it. Anyway, my name's AJ Legend. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.